The Golden Arches. It's a legendary franchise that began with a controversial contract between a pair of innovative brothers and an enterprising salesman.
What Ray signed probably should have been signed with handcuffs instead of a pen.
This is the story of how Ray Kroc and the McDonald brothers changed the business of how we eat. 1954. America is on the move. 42,000 miles of highway and more than 40 million cars cruising the open road. To keep up with the clientele constantly in transit, sit-down restaurants need to come up with food that moves fast too. While fast food flourishes, many traditional establishments like soda fountains go bust. One of the businessmen feeling the financial pinch is 52-year-old milkshake machine salesman Ray Kroc. Soda fountains are Kroc's lifeblood. A high school dropout, Kroc has made his name as a salesman. In 1954, he's the national sales rep for the multi-mixer milkshake machine. At his peak in the late 1940s, Kroc is earning as much as $25,000 in a single year selling multi-mixers.
Ray was a visionary. He never thought in terms of today. He thought in terms of 10, 20 years from now.
But with soda fountains losing business, Kroc's income slumped in the early 50s. But one customer is about to change Ray Kroc's life forever. Sitting in his Chicago office in the summer of 1954, Ray Kroc receives an 8th order for a multi-mixer from a tiny hamburger stand in San Bernardino, California. Even the busiest soda fountains require no more than 2 multi-mixers to meet the demand of all their customers. Kroc is curious and decides to pay the restaurant a visit. While on a business trip to Los Angeles in July of 1954, he drives 60 miles out to San Bernardino. At 10 a.m., Ray Kroc arrives at 1398 North E Street. A sign out front reads McDonald's Hamburgers. The place is almost empty.
11:30, lines start to form. By noon, there's 40 people in line, and Ray's one of them. So he went and talked to everybody in the line. Why are you coming here? The food's great. It's cheap. It's fast. I can bring my kids. He could see instantly that he found something that tapped into the new, mobile, fast American market.
The fast food shack specializes in hamburgers, French fries, and lots of milkshakes. McDonald's kitchen is a hamburger assembly line with one simple goal: get the food to the customer as fast as possible. The head burgermeister is a 37-year-old musician named Art Bender.
Friday dinner time, that place used to really load up. There'd be 10, 15, 20 people in each line.
The owners of this revolutionary restaurant are 2 brothers in their mid-40s, Richard and Maurice McDonald. Friends call them Dick and Mac. Determined entrepreneurs, these New Hampshire boys migrated to Los Angeles in the 1920s with one clear goal.
Dick went out to California in 1927. Probably had maybe $3 or $4 in his pocket. He told his brother, he says, you know, one day my goal is for us to be millionaires, by the time we reach the age of 50.
By 1954, the tiny hamburger stand is generating an astounding $300,000 a year in sales. Amazed by the lunchtime rush, Ray Kroc walks inside and introduces himself to Dick and Mac McDonald. The brothers tell Kroc that they are planning to expand their restaurant all across the country once they find a franchising agent to do the job. Ray Kroc knows that when they do, he could sell hundreds of multi-mixers.
His idea was that for every McDonald franchise he would open, he would have at least 2 milkshake machines.
Kroc obtains a promise that once the brothers choose their franchising agent, Kroc will get the contract to provide all the new franchises with milkshake multi-mixers. Kroc is content. But back in Chicago a few days later, Kroc starts thinking about a bigger idea. Why couldn't he be the McDonald's brothers' franchising agent?
Ray Kroc, when he comes upon this, is 52 years old, and he's broke in some way of understanding what that means. And he's thinking, this is my chance. This is something fantastic. This is going to go. This is my moment. I've got to figure out how to do it.
In August, Kroc flies from Chicago to California to make his pitch.
They were impressed with Ray. I mean, he was a go-getter. You know, had a lot of go power, and so they agreed to this, and they formed a contract.
But the contract has a catch. Dick and Mac insist on setting all the conditions of the deal.
Ray was desperate at this point. His business was declining dramatically, so I think he was willing to take pretty much whatever terms they wanted.
In late 1954, the McDonald brothers give Ray Kroc the exclusive right to franchise McDonald's restaurants across the country for 10 years. The agreement lets Kroc charge a $950 franchise fee for each location. Kroc gets 1.9% of the annual sales from each restaurant, but he has to pay Dick and Mac nearly a third of his profits. With the huge costs he will have to incur to run a franchising business, the deal gives Kroc little chance to make the financial windfall he's looking for. But Kroc is determined to get in on the ground floor of what he hopes will be a fast food giant. He signs the deal without consulting an attorney.
What Ray signed probably should have been signed with handcuffs instead of a pen. He could not make money on the deal that he had signed with them.
Deal in hand, on March 2nd, 1955, Ray Kroc forms McDonald's Systems Incorporated and sets out to sell franchises from coast to coast. But Ray Kroc will soon wonder if he just made the worst decision of his life. He will have to sink his soul into selling McDonald's restaurants and plunge millions of dollars into debt. And his relationship with the McDonald brothers is about to deteriorate into a dramatic struggle for power.
From now on, they were his enemies. From this day forward, he had to get rid of them.